spoke first? Please subscribe to my channel and support me. A long, long time ago, in a land far beyond the Black Mountains and through the magical purple forests, there lived 4 old men in a quiet, hidden cave. These men were wise and gentle, and they loved peace more than anything else. They didn't want to fight, argue, or even disturb others. That's why they chose to live in a place so far away that even birds rarely flew above it, and travelers never came near. The old men spent their days thinking about kindness, helping others, and how to make the world a better place. They didn't need much, just some simple food, fresh water, and a little oil for their lamps. A kind-hearted villager from the nearest town would walk through the forest every day to bring them what they needed. He would leave quietly after making sure they were comfortable. One morning, as the sun peeked over the mountains, the 4 old men sat around the fire in silence. Then the youngest among them stood up and said, "My dear friends, I have an idea. Let's stay completely silent for 1 whole week." "Why?" asked the second oldest with a curious look. "So we can listen more deeply to our thoughts," the youngest replied. "Maybe if we say nothing at all, we'll discover even wiser ways to help people." The others nodded. It sounded like a great idea. So they made a promise: no talking for 7 days. They wrote it down on a small wooden board and placed it at the entrance of the cave to remind themselves. On the first day, they smiled quietly at each other. On the second day, they went for a slow walk among the trees and listened to the wind in the leaves. On the third day, they meditated near the river, peaceful and silent. Everything was calm. But on the third night, as the stars twinkled above the cave and the moon rose high, the cave started to grow dark. The oil in the lamp had run out. The youngest old man looked around and couldn't take it anymore. "Hey, brother," he whispered. "It's your turn to light the lamp. It's getting too dark." The second man gasped. "You just broke the silence," he said. "Now we have to start all over again." The third one, who had been sitting very still, shook his head and said loudly, "You two can't stop talking, can you? You're worse than chatty children." And finally, the oldest man stood up slowly, with a proud look on his face. "Humph," he said, lifting his chin. "You should all be more like me. Have you heard me say a single word?" And just like that, all 4 of them had spoken. They looked at each other in surprise, then burst out laughing. The cave echoed with warm chuckles for the first time in days. "It seems we're better at thinking than staying quiet," the youngest said with a smile. And from that day on, they still tried to be thoughtful and wise, but they didn't mind a little talking now and then, especially when it came with laughter. Thank you for listening.